there. My name's Cassie Brown. I'm with Geek Vibes Nation. I'm here to interview the stars, the co-directors, the writers of the new film, The Beta Test, which comes out this Friday in theaters and on video on demand. Congrats, guys. It's amazing. I watched the film and I was not ready to be afraid of purple envelopes at the end. I'm terrified of them now. They're so scary.
It is a public service announcement. If you see one in the mail, run.
Yes, I totally agree. So I was wondering, when the idea first popped in your head, about how many drafts did you go through till we saw the film we saw today?
Oh man, I actually don't know.
Yeah, there was like two main versions. It was the first kind of draft that was like only 50 some pages that was strictly about the letter service. And then I think we sent it to some people, and some good friends of ours were looking at it and they said, hey, what's all this agent stuff? Like, you know, we had kind of just set him as an agent, but didn't really go into that whole background of the whole world of Hollywood. And he's like, this is the interesting stuff. And then I think it kind of became the second transition to that draft of the script. And that's kind of where we got to now.
Yeah, as soon as we got that note, then it was like, oh, now we're going to have to do a year of research about what it's like to be in the agency world. And then really it was just PJ and me talking it out loud 1,000 times. And I guess that we were constantly in the edit of writing the script. So I guess like 1,000 drafts. We were always doing shifts and changes. But then by October of 2019, it had to be done. So it was like, all right, well, we're shooting it next month. And, so we'll call it quits now.
Definitely. So there's a lot of funny moments in the film that I went back and thought about, and they were so symbolic. And I was wondering, when you're writing, do you mean to have this symbolism, or does the joke kind of come first?
I mean, for us, we tried to create this like important, poignant engine that is the film. And then the comedy comes kind of afterwards, where you do it out loud dramatically enough and you're like, this is ridiculous. And then you kind of like inject comedy into it wherever it works.
Yeah, you kind of make fun of your own ridiculous writing. You're just like, this letter service is insane. Well, what if you could actually get it to work? And when you do the actual research behind the data scraping and the pairing up people based on their search history soulmates that they could find, it's crazy, but like it's fun. And so you make fun of the fact that you have this ridiculous world that you built and you're off and running.
Definitely. Were there any specific films that inspired this at all?
Yeah, a lot of David Fincher's career we stole and made into this film. Chinatown is a big one for PJ. That has such a great detective engine, an LA noir. We were really inspired by the soundtracks of giallo films, of like these Italian horror movies from the 1970s, and Bruno Nicolai's music. Like, there's something just so goofy about having a harpsichord play the music for the score. It was like, and it's like spooky. And so we were like loving that aspect of it, that it was like goofy, but also in the horror genre. And so a lot of giallo films, Dario Argento's work for this one. But then, The Social Network is one of our favorite movies of all time, one of our favorite scripts of all time. There's no fat in that. It's like, there's nothing useless in that script. It's all either setup or payoff or punchlines. And so that one was a really big influence on us, that you could make these very meticulous stories that were also very funny.
Yeah, Social Network. I remember I just had the script out in a tab next to our script while we were writing, because I'm fascinated by the craft work of that script. It really is something to read. It's amazing.
Oh, definitely. And David Fincher is incredible. So
this was our most feeble attempt at ever hoping to be David Fincher.
Yeah. We call him Uncle Dave on set. And there are times we're like getting a shot. We're like, oh, Uncle Dave's going to love this. He's just, it's funny. So I was a production assistant on Benjamin Button, which is how I met Dave and his partner, Sion Chaffin, producer. And I never bother them, but there are times where I'll send an email. I'll be like, hey, this is my short film that won Sundance. Would you check it out? And they have been nothing but incredible to me. And so we sent David and Sion the film when it was playing at Berlinale. And they were like, yeah, David says you're very talented. And we both loved the movie. And it was like, cool. So we can retire now, I guess. Because
don't show the movie to anybody else. It's all going to be downhill for me.
Exactly.
You should put that critique on all the posters, like what they said in the email.
Yeah, exactly. It's just the email. It's just the kind email from my uncle and aunt, basically. Yeah.
It's definitely what you should do. Did you guys? What?
Oh no, I was gonna say David Fincher's review and my mom's glowing review.
Oh yeah, his mom wrote like a novel about the movie in this text message. It was just, he kept on screen grabbing it, but it was like 6 screen grabs of like how long she talked about this movie. Anyway, sorry, we interrupted you. Continue.
No, you should put that in the press kit. I think that should go with everything.
That's all we need. Everyone else.
That would be great. It's his mom's description of the movie and what happens, and that's the press kit. That's brilliant. We should have done that.
His mom liked it. No one else matters. Anyway, yeah.
See, that's what's most important. As long as your mom is proud of you, right? And David Fincher.
It would have sucked if she didn't like it, but yes, that's. Yeah.
Did you guys hide any Easter eggs or anything from the films you love in any parts of the film?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, there's a couple of them. So there's one, the one that I'm thinking of, PJ, is when I'm thinking about who could have sent the letter. And in that moment, I'm like doing crunches with the girls' butts up in front of me. And then I'm thinking, and I keep on like turning different ways. Right. And then I look towards PJ and he goes, come on, man. And then I go, oh, I'm sorry. And I kind of like apologize to this imaginary hypothetical version of PJ who's confronting me. And that's almost directly lifted from a movie called Seduced and Abandoned, which is one of my favorite Italian films from the 1960s. And it's very funny. Ours is a bit different, so it's okay to kind of appropriate this joke. But it was really, really, I love that movie so much. And so we had to put that part in the film.
Yeah. There's a bunch of Easter eggs. I mean, a lot of stuff obviously relevant to the movie. We want to try to like make it really good for rewatch value with like little Easter eggs of the letters and the different murder scenes and everything hiding in the background. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of like the purple envelopes are like letters of friends of ours, or like names of friends of ours and stuff. And like our like director friends of ours. Or I don't know. There's a lot of like little stuff like that littered throughout.
No, that's super fun. Did you have any family members or anyone kind of in the background of anywhere?
Yeah, so PJ's dad is actually in the coffee shop
has
sequence.
A pretty epic cross. In the
like walks in the background. It is very much him. Like you could see, it's his whole face and body are in the frame. Yeah. My producer and my manager Ben Wiesner is always in the film. He's the guy at the cafe who like I kind of cut him off, and he's like, "Bah," and like comes back. There's like a bunch. I mean, it's all of our friends. Like the guy who plays Johnny PayPal, the hacker at the end, is Officer Bo from The Wolf of Snow Hollow, my second film, the guy that like I beat up and then fired from the sheriff's department. There's like, I mean, it's everybody. It's like all of our friends and family that are in this movie. It is this kind of like, and then like Olivia Applegate, who plays the woman in the cafe and the hotel, is one of the stars of Cretia, which is one of my favorite independent films of all time. And so it's nice to kind of, she's been a friend for years, so it's kind of nice to populate her. And it feels like a family affair in a funny way of just like all of these tiny Easter eggs throughout of just our careers and all of our favorite movies.
Did you have to pay everybody, or was it kind of just like, you guys are film?
Oh yeah, I mean, like legit, we had such a small budget with this one, but no, because the crew was so small too, it was like we were able to make it work. I think the whole camera and sound team, like 6 people total. So it was like very different from my last movie. The last movie was a studio movie that had like 50 people on the crew at any given time. So it felt very nice to use the budget and put some money into people's pockets.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I know you guys really think out your films, and you guys almost create like a podcast, right? Of how it goes. Yeah. Was there anything that you had to adapt though on the fly that came up like day of this time around?
Yes. I mean, there's always that. Like what sucks about making small budget movies is you show up at the location and it's never as big as you thought it was going to be. And then you have to like fit the dolly in, and then the tracks are too long. And so then you have to find out a way to do it with Steadicam or handheld to make it work. There's 1,000 little things like that. That's
or you write in like stairs, and then there's no stairs for her to go down. Like,
and then it's like, we wrote it for this like European style stairwell. We were like so inspired by these Italian movies from the 1970s, and they're all over Italy. And then we're talking to the producers, and they're like, oh yeah, those don't exist in America. So I was like, all right, I guess we just throw her off of a balcony in that case. Like, does that work? And then I was like, all right, we got to find the right balcony. There's always pivots that you have to do throughout making movies. It's just the nature of the game.
I was wondering, what was the hardest thing to shoot, you think, throughout this whole film?
I mean, I guess so. We raced through it. It was like an 18-day production. For me, doing the mea culpa, the kind of shouting in the parking lot at the end of the film, was the most taxing because your voice goes. Like it's actually physically taxing on the body. And then crawling across the parking lot in a suit, and then you're ruining the suit. You have to make sure the suits match. You have to have 3 matching suits. All of those things. That was probably the hardest day for me. That I wasn't looking forward to. But then you get halfway through and you're like, all right, this is just ridiculous. This is fun. And then, I don't know, PJ, what was the hardest for you?
I mean,
day one for you is difficult.
Day one was tough because like that was the first scene we shot was my big second bar scene with Jim where I'm talking about the whole data scraping and how the letter system works. And it was like 5 a.m. and it was, the first, and it was like, I have so many lines and everything. It was our first day on set. So we were already nervous anyway.
Yeah.
So that was a tough day for me for sure. And the hardest shot of the movie was the first shot we did, the big 360 bar scene, which was really crazy. Yeah, that day was tough. The day that we had at the hotel was pretty tough because there was just so much going on. And we had to do obviously the very intimate scene, which was tricky. And we were rushed for time and shots and just getting all of that was, but honestly, like there were only a couple days that were super stressful in terms of time. We surprisingly did pretty well for the amount we had to get done in such a short time.
We never went into overtime. It was like it was very good. Malibu, we had to cut some shots, but then we picked them up later. So it was fun.
Yeah. Was there anything that landed on the cutting room floor that you have thought about maybe kind of putting in the DVD maybe later?
There's like one long 11-minute take that we did that was a lot of improv in the agency stuff where it was like us running around and doing something. I don't know if it would work as an 11-minute long take, but there was a couple of big fun punchlines that came about from that everybody felt in the moment. It was like the camera was across the room as a long zoom lens. You're kind of like tracking around and finding nice moments. And it felt very vibrant to be present in that experience. But no, I don't know if anybody will ever see the light of day. There was never something that we cut where it was like, oh, we can't have this scene in the movie, or like every scene that we wrote is in the film.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That's amazing. Was there anything you were kind of scared to address kind of in Hollywood, or was there anything that you didn't really want to touch?
Oh, everything. Like, that was kind of the genesis of the project was like, nobody's talking about this stuff, and making a joke out of it would be very rude to the power dynamics that exist currently. But no, PJ and I are very much fans of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, and they're making worse jokes than we are about this stuff. So we felt like we're following. Yeah, we're following in the tradition of those two idiots, geniuses. And so, I think there were times where I was nervous about, specifically the Raymond scene where he turns around and says all this stuff and is rude to me and shoots me down at the party. That is like an anthem against what the agency world stands for. And I was nervous in the writing of that it was going to come across as very rude or insulting, which it does. And then, we were 2 weeks away, a month away from shooting. And then PJ was like, fuck it, let's just do it all. Let's just go, let's burn it down.
Yeah, but it's rude. It's supposed to be rude because it's the point of the scene. It's for the narrative. It's not like, it's kind of a fuck you, but it makes sense in the narrative.
And he's saying this stuff to me, who's an idiot. Like my character's such like, of course you'd say this to this guy. It's like,
it's supposed to be the final straw that draws him to be like, my life, like, what am I doing with my life? I'm going to go through with the affair at the letter service.
It had to be that bad.
It had to be that bad to draw him to do that.
Yeah. Did you guys screen this for your agents, and what did they think about it?
No, actually nobody's seen it. So like really nobody in Hollywood. I'm going to the Soho House tonight, and that'll be the first real Hollywood crowd. We've gotten a few emails spuriously from different assistants saying thank you, which feels amazing. We haven't really heard from agents or our representatives about about the movie or anything. I don't know if they've seen it. And I don't think they would call us and talk to us about it. I think that would make it seem like we've won somehow. And I don't think they'd give us the satisfaction. But it's fine. Really, like we've had a bunch of outreach from celebrities. Simon Pegg saw it when we were in London and loved it, and like wrote us a small novella by email being like, this is why it's great, and this is why it's great, and this is why it's great. So I think the people who have a good sense of humor, who understand the stuff, will respond to it and reach out. And that's kind of all we wanted in the first place.
That's amazing. Is there anything you really want the audience to go away with after seeing this?
Yeah, that if you're looking at these characters, this is what an agent is. This is what I think that's the big one for me. That there are people who are in suits that sometimes aren't very good at representing themselves, and it might not be the best idea to have them represent you. And then that the internet is changing the landscape of everything, and it's very possible for you to make movies on your own, completely circumvent the system, and do it from an apartment or a garage, and have more acclaim and success than you ever could going through a conventional route.
Yeah, and just enjoy it. I mean, we swung for the fences with this for a lot of reasons, and yeah, I don't know. I'm really proud of the final product and like blending a lot and very unique style of storytelling. So
I love that. My answer is like, what do you want to have the audience take away? I have these like high level like Marxist ideas, and then PJ is just like, yeah, whatever, just have a fun time.
Well, no, it's great. It sounds good. I don't want to double down on that. I'm trying to like give a broad perspective of some of the other stuff.
But also, it's a comedy, so like, enjoy the movie.
But also enjoy the movie. So yeah, it's all of the above. Yeah.
What do you think you guys learned the most from making this film?
That the rumor we spread about being able to do it ourselves was true. And I think that was a huge takeaway from us. Like now, when we look back at the movie, it's like, all right, we were tame. Like we could have done something wilder. We could have pushed the boundaries. We could have made something bigger. And so I think we're taking that into the writer's room for the next few things of not creating this universe that is just outside of our budget range, instead saying, all right, what do we actually want to do? If we had unlimited funds, if we wanted to make something in the ballpark of the major leagues, how would we knock it out the park there and not in our little league game, T-ball game that we're playing here? That's kind of what I've taken away from making this thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we sat down to write this thing it was supposed to be like a one location contained, easy to shoot project. And it evolved into something obviously pretty complex and crazy, but we did it. We pulled it off. I mean, it was a bit. And so that only emboldened us, I think. And now we're going to step it up even farther. And I have more confidence than I've ever had in my life that we can do it. And I can't wait.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys make next. Do you guys have anything kind of in the pipeline right now that's being waited on?
Yeah, us too. We can't wait to see what we do next. I don't know what it's going to be yet. We really want to do this Victorian horror comedy buddy romance movie that's really profound and beautiful and lovely and could be wonderful. And so PJ and I are workshopping that. We're going to try and escape and go away to the mountains and write that in the next 2 weeks, something like that. I really want to do that one. I think that could be a really beautiful film, but we never know. You have 5 films, in the pipeline, just because you know that 5 or 4 of them are people are going to say, no, you can't do those.
Yeah, no, definitely. But you guys have proved that you can make whatever you want,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a threat. I mean, that's a great thing. We get to walk into a meeting and go, and if you guys don't greenlight it now, I'm going to go to the internet and they're going to greenlight it. So
I think if anything, like that. Either way, we're going to do multiple things at once because we can, and you have to. And Yeah,
that's perfect. I just wanted to end on a totally non-related beta test question. If you could star in or be part of a crew of any film ever made in history, what film would you choose?
Wow, that's really good. Oof. Wow.
I would have loved to be on set for Being There, to see Peter Sellers in one of his last roles with Hal Ashby in that time period doing something really goofy. I think that seems like that would have been a really wonderful set to be on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go lame. I would have been so cool to be on the Lord of the Rings set. That's
a great answer.
That just like, I love watching the appendices and watching like the behind the scenes. It looked like, talk about just the coolest production in history. Like, oh my God, just like and I'm also just such a Lord of the Rings geek, and so I don't know. That just came to mind as that would have been.
It's an honest answer.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And Beta Test is amazing. Comes out this Friday, November 5th on video on demand and in theaters. And just thank you guys for scaring us all with purple envelopes. I really appreciate it.
It was our pleasure. Thank you for letting us scare you.
Of course. Thank you. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks, Cassie.
Take it easy.